This is a quick reminder to the brown community that the daughters in this community are not rehab centers for your broken sons. They are not centers of responsibility to help your son grow up. That was your job. Your job was to give him responsibility and a good mindset and a direction in life. Your job was to teach him how to be a man. But no, you realized, oh my God, I've got an irresponsible, useless son, and I need to attach him to someone's daughter so he can get a sense of responsibility and grow up. Do you know the injustice that you do on a woman that you give a useless boy like this? You built up this girl, trained her, taught her. We know in this generation that the South Asian, the brown girls of this world, this generation are literally achieving things that we never even thought was possible. We know how to run home and outside. And we are not going to be here to pick up the crumbs and the scrapings of the efforts that you couldn't be bothered to make. You know, and this is one thing I realized. All the pressure that goes on the girls, look at the consequence of it. Look at the resilience that women have now compared to the inability of men to handle even a simple conversation. They can't handle it. Most women between 25 and 35 are going on Muzmatch, and the guys on there are living at home. Still. Not, I live at home and I've taken responsibility of the home. It's, I live at home because my mum and dad don't think it makes sense for me to pay anything. How do you think that is going to develop a responsible man? But no, you want to send him to the daughters, so the emotional torment, the burden is all on her, dealing with this emotionally unavailable, immature, sexually promiscuous guy. Because predominantly what our men are taught is don't take full responsibility for anything. Like, there will be circumstances, and if it is their fault as the man, they still have a right to critique how everybody else should behave within that. And you're giving that huck to somebody who is emotionally immature and becomes uncomfortable at the slightest depth of conversation. And you've handed him over to a woman who is a much more layered, spiritual, complicated creature to try and fix and maintain. And drawing that when it doesn't work, you say pop out a kid and that will fix it. When we all know having a child is a distraction for a woman, and actually a lot of the time the children that exist now in our community were not wanted. They were accidents, they just happened. And I'm definitely going to start a series on how the injustice is done to men in our community. Because when you don't train the guys properly and they are floating around just sexual and useless in any other way, they are emotionally unintelligent, are damaging people, and have the audacity to have, excuses for it. You've created monsters. That's what happens when you don't allow somebody to grow up. They're a child in a giant body with bigger words. And they can actually, do quite a lot of evil to people around them. And it's justified in their brain, because that's how our men are raised. So we need to bind together and find a solution to this. And I know that there's a lot of rebellion, a lot of calling out, which is necessary for a certain generation. But as we're going along, our generation, the ones that have sons and daughters, the way we train them needs to be so different to what we've seen before.